Greetings, everyone. Good evening. Hi, I'm Teresa Deonto with Andromeda 7 Celestial Gateway, your channel for community support, help, friendship, knowledge, unlimited love, and being of value to others in every way we possibly can.
It's a tongue twister.
It's a tongue twister. So good evening, everyone. I'm glad to see you. And tonight we have a special guest with us, Ann Tucker. Thank you for joining us, Ann.
Yay. Thanks so much for having me, you guys. It's great to be here.
Yeah,
thank you.
We'll be giving you a better introduction here in a minute after we've done our greetings and openings to everyone else. Thank you, Dalibor Suchi is on our panel tonight from Germany. Karen, Queen of Quartz, is back.
Hi, everybody.
From her mining operations.
Good
You're up there in Canada right now, is that right?
Yep, I am. Yep, Northwest BC, British Columbia right now.
Okay. And of course, my beautiful co-host and producer of our show, Lori Cross. Pure Love Ascension.
Good to be with you.
Yeah. And we have a few folks that have jumped on already. We have Grandpa Brian, and who else, Lori? We have
Kelly. Hi,
Kelly,
my sister Kelly. Oh. Good to have you with us always.
Thanks.
We've got Truth Seeker. Always a pleasure to see you, Jayashir. Mandy Moo, good to have you with us. Awesome.
Gary.
Nina the Mystic, good to see you. Gary. Mary Wins, good to have you with us as well. Gazakov. And looks like they're trickling on
so
in.
They'll be trickling on in.
Yeah,
That's
good
right.
to have everybody with us. Thank you so much for joining us. It's really a spectacular show.
And welcome to our listeners. We know we have a bunch of you out there who don't normally jump into the chat room, but you can see the video, and we do have a special video to play for you this evening. But let me first introduce our wonderful guest, because it's so exciting to have you here with us, Ann. In fact, I wouldn't have known you had it not been for Lori.
It's my fault and my guides.
Lori and I've been doing our channeling and sharing our messages and just learning and growing from the experience. And we were getting to think that, at times we were like, are we going nuts, or is this really freaking happening?
It's happening.
We find people like you out there, and it's really refreshing to know that we're not alone. You've got 600, 700, 800 some people on your Facebook feed alone, plus Lord knows how many on YouTube. And there's that many people that understand what's going on here and are experiencing it. And it's like, wow, we thought we were alone there for a while in some of this,
No.
Because it was new to the channeling part of it. Was just,
It was nice to find, you're right, it's really nice to find a community.
Yeah, like-minded individuals.
It makes all the difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, Ann, as it says in our YouTube description, she's an author, business coach, healer, a trance channeler of the higher realms. She is the creator of Business Energetics and the Soul Type Test, transmitter of the Nine Angelic Frequencies Series, which is really cool, and a channel for Angelic Wisdom. She's currently supporting awakening souls on their journey through community, spiritual connection, and healing, so that they can take advantage of this time of rapid growth and ascension. So we're going to have an opening video for her in just a second. But first, I wanted to acknowledge our sister Brenda, our team mom, who's out there at her nephew's football game on a Friday night. And Brenda, this is for you and for the rest of the tribe. It's called I Have Learned by Margaret B. Moss, your favorite.
Yeah.
To be grateful when I feel sad. To think positively in the most of negativity. To hold fast to faith when I feel hopeless. And to accept love when I feel unlovable. I listen for the angels whispering over the numbing static in my head. Shh. The sun shows up every morning and shines. Surely you can do the same. Margaret B. Moss.
Awesome.
Yeah, she's become one of my favorites too.
Yeah.
Yep,
I know Brenda really likes her, so that's good.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
So, Ann, I'm sure I just touched on the surface of everything you do, but all of your programs and everything that you do in the community is just wonderful, and the way you've packaged all your knowledge together, and we have a website to show to introduce people to you during your showcase segment, and then after the showcase segment, we'll have an open Q&A with you.
Mhm.
How's that sound?
Sounds great. Sounds fantastic.
I love this video because it really breaks down who you are, and it's quick and simple. And so this just gives our audience a much better picture of who you are. So we'll go ahead and do that.
Thank you.
All right.
Hey, Michelle.
So this is Anne's website, and you can take the free quiz. I highly recommend you do it. It's called an intrinsic quiz. I took it, and it's spot on. It's amazing how spot on she is with me. And she sends you 4 emails that kind of breaks it down for you, which is fascinating. I found it to be very helpful. And she's got a really nice, clean website here. It goes through all of the things that she provides, the services and that kind of stuff. But I'm going to go down here to the bottom, and we're going to run this quick little video for you folks, okay? Here we go.
My name's Sheila Delaney Duke. You'll hear more from me later, but really I'm here to introduce Anne. The brains, the heart, the spirit behind all of this, and so much more, as you are going to come to see. We did a really beautiful time of grounding and really got to feel her energy and how much she's been holding this for each and every one of you and me and us. So let me tell you about her. So Anne spent years and years working at the top of the corporate world with some of the most influential business leaders of our time. She's worked the upper echelons, she's worked all the type A's, all the hyper-aggressives, all the hyper-masculines. But she found herself asking the question, is this all there is?
Regardless of where you are on your journey, there's something here for you. I really believe, truly, based on my own experience in life, that everything is purposeful, that everything in my life has been purposeful, and your being here is purposeful. So whatever you take from it, please be just open. Be open and receptive. And what I would say is take what works for you and leave what doesn't. And not one solution. That's why I call this wisdom soup, is because everybody makes their own soup, right? You make it with whatever you need. What ingredients work for you, that fit for you. That there's nobody prescribing this is the right answer, this is the only way. The right way is your way, is your own direct guidance. So take what serves you. Find the healers that you feel a connection with, right, that you are drawn to. So try your best to be inside of yourself and listening to your own inner guidance as you're here today, and feel your way through this event. And when you're out of balance, it comes up in a lot of different ways, right? It can show up as something as simple as when you're trying to create something and you feel unsupported. That's a place where you're out of balance. If you're trying to create something and you find that it's difficult to make choices, difficult to choose or decide or commit, it's an out of balance. How about if you're trying to create something and you get going strong and then you fade out at the end? You're out of balance. These are all of the ways in which our creative apparatus isn't working for us fully. What I came to understand is that part of my purpose, having been through this and understanding where I am now, is to now, part of my karma is to teach others how to become more into balance, to teach about this process of balancing. Think about with your own journey and your own understanding of your trauma and your healing and your path, is to know that it's all part of a bigger picture, and to understand that everything that happens is happening for a purpose. And when that purpose is revealed to you, when you get to the moment when you can look back and connect the dots and understand why these different people were in your life, or why they treated you in a specific way, or why these bad things happened, and it not only gives you a sense of understanding, and yes, there's still sadness there, right? There's still sadness about the bad things that happen in our lives. But if you understand why, and you see it from a spiritual perspective, then it feels beautiful, right? And your own life becomes something that inspires you. Make sense? All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for listening to my story.
Makes perfect sense to me.
It sure does. Beautiful.
Thank you. It's fun to see that video again. That was, pre-COVID times with when I used to organize a lot of community events, and it's really fun to see it again, to remember. It's like all those friends and people that I miss.
Well, hopefully that'll all get started over again at some point.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, exactly.
So I really admire the fact that you have taken your spirituality and combined it into your actual business coaching and development. Because I've taken a lot of business coaching courses, Dale Carnegie courses, all kinds of, events and activities like that, team building in the corporate world. But you bring a whole fresh perspective to it because you're transforming people from the inside out in a spiritual way that most companies are not open to.
Yeah,
But you have found a way to do it in a very unique way, and I think, gosh, I wish everybody could take the time to do that nowadays. And we had a fellow on a couple weeks ago who's doing conscious cartooning. So he's bringing
Mark
that
Bright.
conscious, so people are starting to incorporate what they're relearning, and during this shift into their actual work, they're translating it into their work environment. Lori's done it too with employees.
Yeah, which is,
Yeah.
I think that's magic. And I actually think that I think that the whole idea that business is this non-spiritual thing is, I think it's something, it's something I want to challenge. Like, I think it's like time to sort of rethink about business from a spiritual perspective, because, and here's the conundrum that I always look at, because I work with a lot of healers and coaches and people who are out in the world trying to offer their gifts. And so the thing is that developing our spiritual gifts seems like the goal. It seems like the thing we're all after. Like, how do I get connected? How do I start healing? How do I connect with my gifts? But when we're on the other side, we have all of our gifts, right? So learning how to use our gifts is not the objective, because when you cross over, boom, you've got them all and then some.
Right.
So the mystery is, once you get connected, if you notice, like, people who are out there in the world trying to offer their gifts, most of them are having to figure out how to get found and how to find their clients, how to find the people they're going to work with. This whole aspect of, how do I then create a business for myself? And that, to me, I think it's by design, that it is, in order to offer your gifts to the world, you have to create a platform for yourself. You have to create a business for yourself. And creating a business is one of the few endeavors you can do in life that forces you to have to use all 7 aspects of creation. So it's one of the ways you can step into all aspects of source, because you're having to move into all these different soul types in order to do it. So I think there's no accident in that. I think it's, why is it that we're all here, trying to advance, and we put ourselves in a position where, in order to fulfill our mission, we have to move into all these aspects of self. I think it's a beautiful
thing. You see, you've taken 2 different, you've defined 7 soul types.
Yeah.
They all reside within each and every one of us.
Yeah.
Some more strongly than others, but there's usually one predominant in this particular lifetime that we've chosen to manifest in at this time, to learn whatever lessons we're learning. But it also, you're helping us to unlock and discover what that soul type is, so that we can see how it best fits into certain types of businesses or activities that we might pursue.
Well, it's actually, this is the part I think is really interesting, is that the soul types line up. Like, there's 7 different soul types, and each one helps with a different aspect of creation. And if you take the process of creation and you spread it out over a timeline, there's a sequence to where things happen. And the sequence is the same for us as it is in nature. As a matter of fact, you can map the progress of creation in nature and then compare it to how humanity embodies these 7 different soul types, and there's a perfect match. And the way the thing that's really interesting is that each of us, with our soul type, we are best at one stage of creation. So for example, we talked about, when we chatted before, we know, Lori, already, we know what your soul type is, and your particular soul type is best at the very start of the creative process. And so you are extremely gifted at bringing ideas down and physicalizing them. But then it's going to be the next stage. And if you think about it, like Like you are the seed, you're the creation of the seed. But then the seed, if a seed can be taken and put on a shelf and stay on a shelf for a really long time, and maybe nothing ever happens to the seed, right? Like somebody has to take that seed and plant it, and that's the next soul type. And so there's these different stages, and each one of us embodies one of these gifts. And like you said, Teresa, that we have all of them within us. There's one that is our native soul type, the one that we're just born with. We have 2 or 3, maybe even 4 others that we're pretty good at. And then we have a couple that we literally don't even see, that we're in like hard resistance to. And that's where we run into difficulty. And that's our growth. That's our growth plan. But the trick is this is a sequence. So if you're humming along and you do step 1 and step 2 and step 3, and then you get to step 4 and you're like, oh, I don't want to do that. Then what do? We go back to the thing we're most comfortable with, which is our native soul type. So we just keep repeating the same steps over and over again, and we never get beyond it. So it's having this. Anyways, we're going down this whole path of the
but it's sort of like the spiritual. It sort of reminds me. It's like the spiritual side of Deming's approach to management. Because with Deming, it's like, if you want to put a team together to do a project like creating Andromeda, for example, or creating any program or any business, you have different soul types that complement each other. So she might be sitting on the shelf with her ideas, but she needs to implement them. And so the people that she aligns herself with, that she taps into or synchronizes with, are going to be soul types that can help her get that done.
That's exactly right.
Which is what alciriello did when he first started and brought this program
That's
together.
very true.
He reached out to different people with different talents and brought them together.
Yeah, it reminds me of astrology, of course. It's the backs with that. When you do astrology and learn about birth charts and people's charts and all their planets, and it's not just your sun sign, it has to do with 5 or 6 planets, just like Anne says, whether it's the 7 soul types or whatever. But it's the same thing. When you get to know astrology and cycles and progressions and how that works, you realize that they, even to this day, use astrology in business. And if you look into it, it's not millionaires that use astrology, it's billionaires that follow astrology in business, as well as our governments and so on and so on.
Absolutely.
So that's what that reminds me of, Anne. Just when to get to know your astrology, that would be, to me, the same thing, I guess.
Yeah.
What you're talking about.
Same difference.
And that also kind of ties in with the 7 alchemical principles.
True.
Hermetics.
Hermetics, because you have vibration, polarity, resonance, all that, so you have people that are different, that are specialists as different one of these principles. And it's important to know which one you are, so you can design like either a career path or a business that's right for you. I mean, I've been fortunate that for most of my adult life, I've actually been an entrepreneur, and I've gone through many different businesses.
Past life too.
And in a past life too.
Yeah.
And each one of those, whether successful or not successful, has been a tremendous learning experience. So,
Oh boy.
And I went through what I went through in creating. Well, first I went through small business for 10 years, then and then government and non-government, right, Karen? And then from there to nationwide for-profit insurance. So there's been an evolution, and then I came out of all that with all this knowledge and created 3 separate businesses. So I had 3 different types of companies at one point. And now it's just down to 1, and I'm not even an active part of it other than to do some mechanic. At my age, I'm semi-retired with a disability that I'm working through, but I'm still working, but in a different way. But so having had that, I was able to take all that and create business as an entrepreneur, business consulting services to help other people go into business for themselves, set them up in a business or set them up in a new program. Usually it was programs like this or something else, like communications and media, or sometimes it was just marketing and sales operations for their small businesses. Sometimes it was like a moving van company, and I think I did a couple of others. And so that was my function, is to help other people build. Even though I'm not building for myself and raking in big bucks, what I'm doing is I'm helping other people do that, bringing that out in them. And so Anne's doing it on a spiritual level. Mine was just more of a friendly you know, because I was a friendly kind of person. I've always been more friendly in business. So
You kind
it
of
came
have to
naturally,
be.
kind of
You have to be
naturally.
socially
Yeah,
adept
yeah.
Definitely,
to
But you're
definitely.
deal with
taking the
customers.
ego out of it, and you're
Yeah.
bringing in the spiritual side of that to help
Mhm.
them develop their companies and their businesses. We have a number of people in our community and here through the gateway that have different small businesses, and they have all these ideas about how to grow them, but they're just startups, or they're having their ups and downs trying to get those businesses off the ground. And they've gone through this awakening, and they've got some spiritual tools. And I bet you any one of them could hook up with you and go, ho ho ho, this is how you take what we have as spirit and move that into the
Mhm.
vision that we want to create and manifest for our business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it is amazing how a little bit of knowledge and structure can make all the difference when it comes.
Mhm.
It's sort of like you don't know what you don't know. When you're starting out, we're each good at the things that we know. We know what we're good at, and we have a sense of what we're bad at.
Mhm.
But in the areas, especially starting a business, there's a whole lot of information out there, but there's not a whole lot that's specifically for the kind of work that most of us are doing here as solo practitioners, as people who are offering a service. Most of the business advice you're going to find is not targeted to you. It's targeted to people who are trying to sell online courses or trying to do something. It's none of that advice works. So it's
Yeah.
very specific to try to bring it back to this job, to this thing of when you're sharing your gifts. How do
Yeah.
you have a business that supports you? How do you have a business that where you can thrive and be of service?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking about your gifts,
Yeah.
which I'm really excited about, is I'm very curious about how you got started in channeling, and kind of what brought you to this spiritual aspect of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. It is and I think probably like you guys, I always knew I was psychic. Like I always knew that I had gifts growing up. I wasn't brought up in any particular religion. So and I did, but that was a positive and a negative. Like there was nobody there to like show me this is how you meditate, or like all of that was not there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I knew, like I had this feeling that there was, and I remember back now as a child having conversations with my guides, just not understanding that that's what was happening.
Wow.
And yeah, and then, but later in life, we get older, we put in blocks, and I went through life experiences where I shut my third eye.
Mm-hmm.
And but then all of a sudden the lights came on, and I started. It kind of when things started going into high gear, I had a dream that 5 years later came true exactly as I saw it. Like literally, in the dream, I'm walking up a hill, and there's my partner and the two kids, and there's a woman on the bench with the sandwich and the curly hair and the bike.
Precognitive. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Dream.
Mm-hmm.
And then things started boom, 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 where I started having the first thing that was really like, whoa, what is going on, is I went to A-Fest, which is a Mind Valley puts on this big festival. They do it a couple times a year. And I went to that, met a bunch of friends. On the way back, I was thinking of one of my friends, and all of a sudden I popped into her body. And I was,
what?
Yeah.
What?
I know, right?
Oh my goodness.
I was thinking of her, and all of a sudden I was looking out of her eyes, and I could see what she was seeing. And I could see she was on an airplane. I could see the movie that was on the screen on the airplane. I could see, like, then she looked over here, and I saw the woman's shoes that she was looking at. Like,
oh my
and
goodness.
so that freaked me out. So I texted her. I'm like, "Are you on an airplane watching this movie?" And 2 hours later, so yeah, how did you know? And so,
wow.
Okay. So then I thought first of all, it felt a little invasive, because I'm like, okay, I have to learn how to control this, and what the heck is going on? So I started making dates with friends where I'd say, okay, tomorrow at 11, I'm going to jump into your body.
Oh, wow.
Amazing.
It was wild. And but the later I found out, and it was accurate, like crazy accurate, where like the second time I tried it, a friend of mine I knew she was at a conference. And so we said 11 o'clock, I'm going to jump in. So I came into her body, and I couldn't see anything. And I was like, oh, it must not be working. I could feel her body though. So that was when I could feel it felt like there was it felt like there was fabric on her legs. And I thought maybe she was like sitting, because I knew she was at a hotel. So that maybe she's like under a tablecloth or something. Like it felt like she was like there was extra fabric on her legs. And there were some other things that I felt. And afterwards I texted her, I'm like, yeah, I don't think it worked. I couldn't see anything. And I just felt this fabric. And she said, at the time I tuned in, they were meditating and she was blindfolded and she was cold. So she had put her scarf across her legs.
Oh my word.
Well,
Wow.
it was scary accurate, but I found out, and see, that's the thing, is it started coming in accidentally. And then I found out that the reason for that was because it became part of my healing modality. Is that the way my healing was working at that time is that I would step into a person's body and then the angels would step through me. And that I was the portal and I would heal from within the person's body. So I would actually feel where the blockages were and where the density was, and I could feel the release. So I was actually inside there and they were coming through me with the healing energy.
A conduit for the angelic realm to do
Wow.
that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was
Interesting.
like, and then once that started happening, it was like, I mean, it was all the time, like stuff happening all the time. And so I was looking for resources, looking for, how do I understand what's going on? And then I was always constantly working on myself. Because I was just like everybody. I had my, and that's the truth. It really doesn't matter where we've come from or if we volunteered to come back, if we graduated the Earth School and we're coming back again. All of those things is that we have to ground ourselves onto the planet with karma. So all of us, every person, every human has karma. And it's a process of trying to clear it and get to a place where we're more and more open so we can get, more and more connected in terms of our purpose and what is it that we're trying to do here. But yeah, so
in this connecting when channeling, you have identified, I guess, what the ancients a long time ago did when they were discovering different energies, different creatures, and assigning them to gods and goddesses. You have identified and harnessed what, 9 specific angelic energies?
So the frequencies that came through. So that's an interesting thing. So the frequencies they're frequencies that have never been on the planet before. And when the angels told me so I'm a channel, but I channel, as you know, I channel messages and things like that. But what I really am is a frequency channel. That the thing that makes me different as a channel is that I channel frequencies. And to do that, the angels actually worked on me physically for a really long time, for a couple of years. They made physical changes to my body to the point where there was a 4-month period where I could barely talk because they were working on my throat chakra. And I would be able to talk for 20 minutes and then I would lose my voice. And it was for months. And there was nothing wrong with me. It was they were changing me. And sure enough, my voice changed from doing that. My voice is now a little deeper, a little more resonant than it used to. And you can hear. If you hear me from before and after, my voice has changed.
Yeah, they fine-tuned your frequency. We actually talked about that yesterday.
It's starting to happen to Lori.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It's amazing how you start to see the physical manifestation of what's happening to you.
Most definitely.
So they told me that I would be channeling these frequencies, and that there's actually the 9 were the first ones to come through. And I channel frequencies in all of my sessions. So for example, in Peace Bathing, which is the session that we have on Sunday, which is a live healing session that I do with a group, that they come through with frequencies. They're usually bringing through the frequency of peace because that's a peace bathing session. They always, every session, they bring people up to the frequency of peace. And that's like my favorite place to go.
I can see why.
But there's another 3 frequencies coming, which I don't have yet, which they've only told me about, which they call them the world healing frequencies. And so those will come when we need them. So
wow.
Yeah.
So you have your own YouTube channel and you also on Facebook, and you do a weekly channeling on Fridays, which is awesome.
Thank you.
Her information is in the description too. If you want to check out her channel, I highly recommend it because what she does is she channels those energies from the higher realm and gives those messages. But not only that, sometimes they're kind of complicated. So she'll break everything down for you and kind of give it to you in layman's terms, so to speak. And that's what I really, really like. But I'm excited because you are going to do a little tidbit of channeling for us. And I'm super excited about that.
That message you had this morning, though, has been something that I hear a lot of questioning. I myself had a lot of the same questions, and the way you framed it, the way they framed it. And that's another thing that Anne does that's somewhat unique, at least as far as I know, with is you have a team or a group that comes to you. They combine as one voice and give you one frequency. Otherwise, you would be bombarded, and so they give you one name to call this group. So you're speaking to the individual, but it's really not to the individual. It's the whole collective that's communicating with you,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah.
So what they're doing is allowing you to channel that frequency in such a way to tune it. You're tuning it in to get the message without having to hear all that message in your head at one time, right?
Right.
Right. Yeah. As a matter of fact, one of the things that's interesting is so much of my journey, and that's actually part of what today's message is about allowing, is about releasing and letting go of our human need to control and define and understand. And so they never give me names. They never define themselves. They never give me, they always say they're a collective with me. And I know when different energies come through, the only time they have specifically said a new energy is coming, a new angel is coming, is when they first introduced me to the angel who was going to tell me some of the difficult things that are coming. And I channeled one day and they were like, we are going to bring you someone new. And this person is this is a real, like, this is okay. Like, this person is okay. Like, they basically, vouched for this other angel. And then that angel came through and had a bunch of these challenging messages. But other than that, they didn't give me a name. I could see the difference. They showed me visually. But other than that, it's all about being okay with not having identity, with oneness. The whole idea is to get us into a frame of mind where we are comfortable with the concept of oneness and unity. So that's part of my journey. But when I channel, for example, I have a group of clients I work with that are part of my Golden Circle group, and I do private sessions with them. Sometimes the angels will come through as specific, and they will take on identities for them.
But that's for your humanness.
For them, yeah.
I get that too. I have one main archangel that I deal with, and he will introduce others, and they'll come in, and then I get to know them. But I have a feeling they're part of my team, and it's just that I'm getting to a point where now I'm learning about it, and I'm able to take on the extra energy. So
I'll get one, and then a few, and then I got another one. Yeah. And then I got another one.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, but this was over a period of 3 weeks, and I said to Lori, I got this one, and they're talking to Lori.
Oh, that's awesome. You guys are sharing.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. That's so cool.
And one of hers is talking to me.
I love that.
So it's kind of like we're able to help each other because we have cross messaging going on.
I love that. That's
and a way of validating it. So that we know it's not something from left field, right. We're not. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. But the two of you have a lot in sync in that I think Lori's, I'm more of a seer.
And I highly resonate with Anne and what she's doing and what she's going. It's almost in a mentorship kind of, I'm looking at you as a mentor because you're someone who's already reached that. And I'm somebody kind of coming up and getting position and lined up with that. So that's why I'm so excited about it, because for me, it's a lot of validation.
Oh, that's awesome.
Lot of validation.
For me, you're still open. I'm still being opened up by the things that you're saying. And I'm like, oh, wow, that resonates, or that just happened, or, oh, wow, that's what's coming,
Yeah.
So we're each getting something different out of that relationship with you, but it's worthwhile.
I'm so glad. And I think it's one of those things where like for me, I can come back, and sometimes when the angels give me a message, I can go back and look at it, and there are so many layers of meaning and depth to what they say. It's like every sentence, nothing's accidental, you know what I mean? And it's right. Take, like, wherever we are right now, we read it through our own filter and we take what we need. But then if I come back to it later and look at it later, I might get more. I might get something new.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but what I was getting ready to, because I think there's different folks that have different parts of this capability. And I've talked to a few folks in our community, and you and Lori are sensing the frequency. And I will see in the middle of a conversation that we're having her shift her frequency. I don't do this frequency. I don't, when they come to me, they come as an audible, a thought, or something that I write down on paper, or something that I see in a vision. With her, she feels that change and makes the shift. And the next thing you know, she's got me making the shift with her, but I don't even know why. Because that's not my area. That's not my strength yet of skill. So she's feeling all of this. So now when you get these messages that you share with us on Fridays and on Saturdays with your healing, classes, that's a little bit different there too. Yeah. But the messages that you're getting today had to do with people trying to be saviors of others, not realizing that they might be doing more harm than good in some cases, and that the higher realm, sees it as a form of us being resistant.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Not letting go of. So can you tell us a little bit more about that, and then we can maybe
sounds
do
good.
some channeling here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you want, here I have the message for today. I can read a couple excerpts because they always say it better than I do.
They do, don't they?
Do.
And that'll get folks in the
they really do.
Watching.
And you sit down and look at what you just wrote. And you're like, where the hell did that come from?
Right. For real.
Yeah.
So they talked about in the message. They talked a little bit about how is it that the whole goal of the message is how can we thrive during this process of our ascension? How can we not only just sort of show up and be there and survive and make it through, but how can we actually thrive through this process? And they said, so it's going to be, they want us to be, okay, so we just read a couple, I've got 3 paragraphs here I'll share. The first one, they say, you can have the appearance of calm and centeredness. The feeling of it now rises, but it is not to pass as thus, not just in temperament do we require. We want to lift you higher, to feel what is occurring as a benefit to the self, to all that is, to humanity's purpose of being, to rise, to assume the throne of caring for all. Abundance will be felt from this space, and your wanderings seen from above feel gentle and profound in Earth's place. So the goal of this paragraph is really about saying, okay, the way through this is to shift our thinking away from thinking about like surviving and how do I get through, and moving it into this, as they say, to this assuming the throne of caring for all, which is moving our awareness up to looking at it, everything that happens from a spiritual perspective, looking at it, where is the benefit in all of this for humanity? And that it's not necessarily about one person suffering and another person not suffering. It's understanding that there's perfection in all things, and that this is happening for the benefit of all of us, and trying to move up to that perspective, to see it from that perspective. And then there's more in here, but I'll skip ahead and go to this other paragraph. They say, how to achieve it. You will find your manner lifted by your own worthy contemplation. So it's like being in quiet meditation with yourself. They say, feel in yourself a willing participant in what unfolds. Resist not the passing of what occurs. Instead, feel the divine nature of all things and see your passage through it, not as resistance, not as carving out a life for self among the branches and brambles of difficulty. No, now it is to be seen as a flow of life participation, one of glee and joy, of trouble and circumstance, all for benefit. To ride among ourselves and feel what occurs as lifting, as a vibration of peaceful coming, of heightened awareness and consideration for all that is, for heightened care to take. And I think that last bit there, that heightened care to take, I think what that means is that's really speaking to the empaths in all of us, how we are always attuned to other people's suffering. Is everybody, is someone okay? Is, like we tune into what other people are feeling, and they're saying rather than caring at that level, they want us to take care at a higher level, which is to see really what is the spiritual goal of what someone is going through, and to not swoop in and say, I'm going to take on responsibility for the fact that you're in pain right now, and I'm going to feel bad that you're in pain right now, and I'm going to try to make it better, or I'm going to try to save it or fix it. And it's not that humans don't, like, angels act through humans, and we help each other, and that's part of the game. Like, we're meant to help each other, but we're not meant to take on responsibility for all of the woes of the world, for all the things that we can't fix, and to feel bad about that.
Does that resonate with you, Karen? Karen does counseling too. She's a counselor as well. How does that resonate with you, Karen?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like, when you do a lot of counseling and you listen to people's stories, and the one thing you don't do is you don't take it on. You don't take on their energies. You don't take on, you know, they're anything that they're trying, because what they do a lot of time is try to project, right? And then if you're sitting there, and so what you do as you know, at certain levels, and probably you do, Anne, is you step back, and there's a space between yourself and whoever you're talking to at all times, right? You have this space. It's like a pause where you have time to actually think and respond always, you know, because you're at a higher energy level, and you don't get involved, like you don't take on those people's energy. So you can make very calm, very helpful help to the people, you know, as far as what they need help with, right? Without, you're being objective, right, instead of subjective about it. And which is a lot better than taking on that with them. So
that would be exhausting to do that.
Well, not getting lost in the empathy,
getting lost in the empathy, which we tend to do. We do, because we, like Dan says, we want to always try to help and be, you know, as best we can with people, and we try to take on way too much, and you have to know when not to, for sure, and when to keep your energy separate, and when to give energy, and when to receive, and when to give, you know, for sure, and not be overwhelmed, for sure.
Yeah. And they really are trying to get us, the angels are trying to get us to move into more of a dharmic experience as opposed to the karmic experience. They're trying to get us to a place where we're willing to release and allow what happens, and not feel like we need to control the outcome, not feel like we need to insert ourselves to make everything okay. To say, like, nope, we're going to trust that life is flowing through us, and to get in the treat. So, and they're trying to say that those efforts of ours to say what's happening to that person is not okay is a resistance to what is. And they're trying to get us out of resistance in all ways, to try to get us to a place of allowing and understanding. And that doesn't mean we can't help, but it means that we shouldn't be in resistance to their experience.
Well, yeah, to the extent that we take over or try to fix it like it's broken. It's a contract, it's a journey, it's a path, it's a lesson.
Exactly it.
Yeah, because I guess if you're showing any resistance, you're not showing acceptance then.
Yeah.
If there's
exactly.
resistance.
And it's I think that the one just perfect illustration of this is that if you've ever known somebody where, like, I remember a long time ago, I was remodeling a house, and I had a contractor that was helping me, and I wanted to help him. And so there was this tour, and he was always kind of in resistance to what he was doing. He would be like, yeah, I'm doing this, but what I really want to do is bake bread. And what I really want to do is, but every time, the minute he picked up a hammer, like a stream of curse words would come out of his mouth, like working and swearing the whole time. But he did great work, like amazing work. And this was his livelihood. So I was like, hey, let me help you. There's going to be this home tour. You can, if you want, you can put this project on the home tour, and I will let all these strangers come to my house to see your work and promote you. And I was like, I said I would even pay for the entry fee for him to join this thing. I would, because that was like a gift. I wanted to let me pay for your entry fee and help to promote you. And so I was literally like, I'll do it. I'll do it all for you. Just let me do it. And he never would. And it's that whole thing of, you can lead a camel to water, but you can't make them drink. So my resistance to the fact that he was unhappy in his work, like I wanted him to be happy, and I was going to solve it and fix it and pay for it and do it. You know what I mean? And he was having none of it.
And I learned that the hard way.
Tell me this, and let me know if you on the panel think I'm being resistant by definition of the way the realm has described this. Okay, so I have a friend down the street who's been suffering greatly, going through something with her husband. It's affecting the children. The children are acting out. There's alienation going on. I'm a caretaker of the kids, right? So I'm exposed to them all the time and what they're going through, right? And I'm not just talking about me. This could be anybody like me, okay? So I'm just giving this as a... So am I showing resistance by planting the seeds with them that there's better ways to do things in a gentle way, or doing things that show them that there's a way to resolve a particular conflict without getting violent about it? Am I inserting myself too much into the process because I'm there and I'm giving them such great empathy? Is that resistance because I'm trying to fix the situation, or I'm trying to make it better because I don't want the children to hurt? Or am I being a light worker and just dropping seeds and getting these little nudges from high above to at least give them a path, and then back away and see if they take it or see if it germinates? I mean, at what point am I being a resistor or resistant?
I'd love to hear what you guys think, but my impression of that is that it depends on how you feel about it. That if you're able to come in and gently be an example, or offer a solution, or offer something different, or offer a perspective without any attachment to whether or not they take it, without judgment of them as being wrong, right?
There you go.
It's the
Without judgment
attachment.
and the attachment,
Right.
attachment, doing it from up here,
Yep.
from a conscious perspective up here,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to being down in the trenches with them and saying, why aren't you doing it the way I'm showing you how to do
Right.
that?
You're giving them something to think about.
So
Yeah.
that
To mull
second
over.
scenario would be, I'm resisting. I'm being
Yeah.
resistant.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Actually, there was one message I got a while ago from the angels about describing what an angel is, and I have several messages like that where they talk about how they're different from us and how they think and how they feel. And in this particular one, they were talking about how their emotions, that angels do have emotions. They're emotion frequency. Like we have our frequency of emotions that go kind of from being, like you guys have probably all seen the pyramid of emotions, where we go like from, love up here, and down here is like anger, and then below anger is like fear and grief. We kind of have this whole range. Well, the angelic range it's smaller. They have less of a range, and it's all kind of at a higher octave. And so they said that, of course, they have love, right? They have all these other good things. But when they're with us, they said that they're not neutral where we're concerned. That they care. They really care about what happens to us, and they
Yes,
get
they do.
engrossed and involved in what we do. And so they really care. But they said they are never that. They always see what we're doing as perfection. That it's never wrong. They're never in judgment. That they care about the outcome. But anything we do, they're excited about, and even our mistakes, they're interested in.
Yeah, because they're learning from us as well.
They
Just as
really
we're
are.
learning from them, they
Now,
learn
let's
from
just
us.
be clear. They're not saying don't help, because Lori got a nudge today to help
Mhm.
someone.
Yeah.
I've been nudged over the past several days to help people in certain ways. So their message today from the higher realms isn't don't get involved.
Absolutely.
It's get involved in a way in which you can help. What's
Mhm.
what's the language Christy just used? Be a transmuter, transducer,
Mm-hmm.
be a conduit,
Mm-hmm.
but what we're saying, Christy, is don't absorb the emotions that would suck you into it to the point where you're so involved you're in their face telling them
You're
how to behave and
absorbed.
how to act.
You're
Do
absorbed.
it from
Judgment involved, yeah.
don't
Right.
absorb it.
See the problem here is you can't possibly know the permutations of all
Yeah.
your actions in the future, and
Right.
you don't really know which of those is going to be a good one or a bad one necessarily. The only thing you can really rely on in this case is your instinct. Just if you behave according to your best instinct at
Right.
that time, you're probably going to make the best possible decision with the best possible outcome. Like deep down
Yeah.
inside, we all know what the right thing to do is. Like, let's say you have I don't know, a court appointment. So you have two options. You can either go to the court appointment or get
Right.
drunk. So you know deep down inside which one's the rational
Okay.
one. And despite the fact that it's not pleasant,
Yeah.
that it's
I love
ultimately
that.
in your best interest to do
Been here,
that.
done this. Okay, you guys. Been
Yeah.
here, done this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and
Yeah.
Karen.
Yeah.
Karen?
Well, I think it's interesting. So that in that same message,
Yeah.
what the angels said that they do is they said that they never feel disappointed in us, but they will feel disappointment that an opportunity has passed by. So they will have a fleeting disappointment because they always want what's best for us.
Uh-huh.
So the idea is that they never say, do it my way, do it this way, what you're doing is wrong. Instead, they come in and they say, well, here's three options. and here's 3, and we're going to give you these options, and you can take which one. And we're hoping that you're going to go this way, because this way is going to be the way. But if you don't take that, they'll feel some slight disappointment, but then they're also interested in what we're doing. So they acknowledge they're never disappointed in us. They're only disappointed that an opportunity has passed us by, that we've let
Right.
Well, that's the thing. You may see 3 options, but in reality, there's always multiples of that.
Yeah.
You may see
Yeah,
3
that's
options, but there's probably 30 of them that you
there
don't
or
know
more.
about.
You're totally
Yeah.
right. You're totally right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you might try, like with my family, you know, they were all codependent and crazy, and me and my brother and my other sister, we tried, we reached out, we offered that olive branch, we gave them solutions, we did everything we could, but we couldn't save them. That was their journey, and that was something they had to do. Same thing with down the street. I'm not going to stand there and watch that man use a strap on that child without calling Child Protective Services, and I don't care who knows it.
Yeah.
Because well, you're judging him. Yeah, damn right I am. There's a little child who's defenseless.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they're on a spiritual journey together doesn't mean I'm going to sit back and watch them get pulverized.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There's times where we use our instinct and intuition and step in and do what we feel is right.
And you may be meant to enter.
I was just going to say that.
The angels work through us. That
Yeah.
we are, we
Yeah.
are their expression. We're God's expression on the planet. So
Yep.
yeah. So we're not meant to just stand by and let we're not meant to.
No.
It's our perspective on it is what matters. Yeah.
Exactly.
And not to take it on, not to
So,
judge.
We've
Yeah.
picked your brains a bit here, but are you
But
up to?
then there's always yourself. Remember, Anne, you're just saying it through us, but there's always yourself as well. It's not that you're ever absent, as far as anything coming from other realms. And it's got to remember that it's actually just yourself you're connected to more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just your higher self, really. And everything comes through that, no matter what. It doesn't matter what voices you hear, or who you think you hear, or angels, or I don't know, whatever you want to call them. It doesn't matter.
That's
you know what I
interesting.
mean? It is. It's always your higher self.
Perspective.
I would agree with that, and I would add to that and
Yes.
say that yes, we have our intuition where we are connected, where we're hearing our higher self, and that is you at all times. But I also say that angels and guides can influence, can whisper, can communicate to you, and they can plant ideas in your head, and they can give you that inspired idea of, hey, I'm going to do this thing. But I'm totally agreeing with you that like the connection we're all striving to get is this one.
That's right, because you're
Yeah.
never always stepping aside for this,
Mhm.
right? You're never elsewhere. You're not completely,
Yep.
So you are always there. You are always involved. Your morals, your character, your person. It always is a wash, and it always comes through.
Yeah.
And it's you that's really connected to that
Yeah.
higher self, to that voice, to that
Yes.
And at the end
that
of the day,
message coming through.
yeah, you are the most important thing. That's the thing, is that this is your journey. This is your life. And I think a lot of times we think, especially as light workers, you think we're here to help others and help others. But at the end of the day, your journey and your life is the most important thing for you, right? You know what I mean? Is that you matter. Yeah.
Yep. Most definitely.
Mhm. See, I have a slightly different theory. That this is kind of in line with my theory that magic is actually an ancient programming language. So, I would dispute the fact that the angels are actual living beings. I don't think they are. Neither are demons. I think they're code. They're computer
Yes.
programs that are running in the ether, and you can either choose to execute that code in your life somehow by invoking it, just like you would a program, on your computer, or, in the worst case scenario where you download one of these like a demon and it takes over you. So, because you can call on the angels if you know their names and their functions, and you will get the same results every time. So will everybody else who does that same ritual, 10 days in a row make the pentacle, make the sigils and everything, and he's going to get the exact same results. So that looks more like not so much a living being with its own volition, but more like a bot. A code, almost like a virus, which is just a code. It's just a genetic code, a sequence of numbers and letters encased in a protein envelope, and that's it.
Interesting perspective.
Well, before we you could stay with us, Anne, for a few more minutes, right, for the channeling.
Yeah, yeah.
I just wanted to take the opportunity, since it's 9:57, to do a couple of acknowledgments here before we continue, in case people have to saunter in and out. And first of all, I just want to say our deepest respect and sympathy for our brother R. Wayne Steiger of the Wayne Steiger program, for the loss of his mother yesterday evening during his program. And we're with you, Wayne. We sent you lots of love. We sent you an email, but you've got a bazillion, I'm sure. And the next few days are going to be, well, what they're going to be. And it's never 100% pleasant, but we know you're a strong character, and we know that you're a strong teacher, and have great wisdom and great love in your heart. And we're with you 100%. Okay, so we're sending you all of our love and energy for you and your family through this difficult time, and we look forward to your return. Okay.
Awesome.
I also want to tell happy birthday to Crystal. It was her birthday yesterday. Crystal turned what? The big 4-5. Hey, she admitted it on, so. But she looks 30, and will always look 30.
45.
She looks 30 to me.
Wow.
So, Crystal, you're still beautiful, sweetheart.
35 maybe, not 45.
Still beautiful. And please check out her wonderful homemade soaps, because let me tell you, what she has come up with this week alone, let alone the past 2 weeks, should be in a hotel, or they should be in restaurants, or they should be displayed. I mean, they are magnificent. So if you haven't seen them, please go check them out on her Facebook page. They are fantastic. Okay. So I just wanted to put that in there. And Trina, we're glad that you're feeling better. We all sent a lot of healing and loving energy to Trina. She really almost didn't make it to her family event. So she's off driving right now, probably listening while she's driving. Love you, Trina, sister. Love you.
Love you, Trina.
And hi to everybody that joined us while we were talking to Anne. Sorry if we missed calling you out, but glad you could make it. So, Anne, my dear, do you feel the energies coming in?
You can go for it. Go
like
for
that.
it.
Really appreciate this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You're super welcome,
And
guys.
thank the angels and thank your guides.
Yeah, no, my pleasure.
Gratitude.
So I would just ask if we could all go through a grounding exercise together
Please.
first. You guys are game for that? Everybody okay with
Absolutely.
that? The other thing is I would just need from the four of you to have your verbal permission. And I'll ask that during as we go in. And that's just important for my process.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, go ahead and close your eyes. And go ahead and drop down from your tailbone a nice thick root that goes down through the floor and down into the ground, and follow it down with your mind, deeper and deeper into the earth. Down, it's dark and cool, growing longer and longer, further and further, all the way down to the very center of the earth. And when it reaches that center point, feel the root sprout and anchor itself in. And as it does, feel the root become taut. And you can feel that tautness going all the way up the root, and now all the way up your spine, anchoring you securely to the earth. And now from the bottom of each foot, drop down another root that goes down through the floor and down into the ground. And follow those roots down with your mind, just about 8 feet. And there, feel them spread wide in all directions, like the roots of a tree, supporting you from side to side. And if I and the angels have your permission to see and communicate with your energy, please just give me a verbal yes.
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 Thank you. Hello. We are within. We are with you now. We are here. We are ready to begin. You have questions, dears. You would say you have begun learning, understanding from ourselves, from learning, hearing the visions we do share of what is and what will pass. And we are glad for this. We are here. We are present with you now. We have formed a bond, a connection with you still. It will grow. It will become more of what it is. It is a connection strong, forming, drawing you closer to ourselves, allowing yourselves to bring in more of the frequency of peace and understanding, more heightened awareness. We draw you upward. This we attempt to show through our communication. We try to assist in your evolution, in your separation from this realm, in your understanding of what is and what will become. There are times to come, aforementioned, times of change, of belonging no more to this time, this present realm. You will find yourself separated, bereft of what has been. This time of difficulty will come, a pressure, a presence of yourself drawn further from here. Change must come. This can be no longer. And we say this pressure forward for your instrument to kneel down and touch the earth and understand its volatility, understand its present evolution. This we begin unfolding in your minds so that you will rise with ourself as the time comes. You will begin understanding more of what is possible, releasing, relinquishing your hold, your tenacious grasp upon what has been. And this is the difficulty, dear. This is where we have spoken, shown the greatest injury to your own selves is the limitation you place upon your own hand, upon your own way of beginning, by being entrenched in what is now. And we wish to release you from it, to open the horizons of what can be. This is where we are directing a path, creating a flow of opportunity, opening a trajectory of possibility for you to explore, to understand, to see, to feel, so that you may pass more easily into what will be. This we wish to share. You have questions for ourselves?
Yes. This change, this shift that we've been going through and continue to go through, those that have not grasped this higher energy have been unable to shift. There'll still be room for them.
For the ones who are not ready, not prepared to release this realm, who wish to remain, it is a choice had by all. All have in the choosing the opportunity to stay, not here, but within the space of transmutation of karmic injury. Many will remain in that space. It is a way of conditioning. It is a method of passage. It is a school in and of itself. And some may feel they are not through it yet, that there is more to begin, more to be had, more benefit to themselves, to pursuing that realm, to pursuing their housing within yet another space of creation, yet another place, not here, for this place is changing. It will not stay, it will rise. And they must come with us to another realm where they will be instilled another time in a way of living, breathing through their karmic burden. They can have this of their choosing. It is a choice each will make. Their higher selves, as you do say, will operate this instruction. They will give us their choosing, how it is best for them. Many will stay in that realm. Some will not. Some will choose to move on, to stay here and rise higher. This is a choice. There is no pejorative explanation. It is a choice merely. It is not better than or less than to have either. It is merely a selection for the individual self, the soul, who wishes to explore and experience a method by their own choosing. Do you understand?
Yes, they'll
Yes.
come with us. You'll protect them as well, and they'll come with us and still be given the choice to continue with what they're doing. They won't be left behind or annihilated or destroyed because of what they're going through and what they've chosen.
Not here.
Right.
They will not remain here, dear ones. They will move on to another space.
Another space.
Another space. They cannot stay within the realm of this Earth School. They will move their housing to another planet, dimension, time, place, difference. It will not be here. There is another in creation for them. They will move, transition to this place. Some will depart this earth, this incarnation. Others will remain and live their full experience, but not return again. They will reincarnate elsewhere. Do you understand?
Yes. Yes.
Some will terminate their beings as we begin the ascension process. This will occur. This is why we have desired to communicate the need to release attachment to what is, to release your judgment of self in understanding their desire to leave.
Okay.
Do you have another question?
Yes. It is said that we help you as much as you help us. In what ways can we help you?
We like this question, dear. We are pleased. You have asked it. We are pleased. We say, we begin most heartily to thank yourselves for all you do. Your brethren benefit each time you intervene on their behalf. When you say a prayer of giving and receiving for yourselves and others, we hear them all. We hear what you request. We hear your dictum, your wishes, your gifting of presence and knowledge. These we take to heart. We are enabled by your request to assume some measure, some capacity of aid for another soul. We can bring in some relief where required by your request. These are the rules which are spoken. We must abide by the rules of Earth. These are the rules, you understand. And when you give us this instigation, when you give us permission to influence the outcome of another life, to give them opportunity, a glow, a glimmer of hope, this is where we feel we are best instructed. It is this glimmer that we offer. It is the instruction upon their mind of possibility, an offering of potential where they may feel themselves bereft of all belonging to this planet, of all things worth enjoying. We may speak in to their experience and offer a glimmer, a moment uplifted, a moment in which they feel more is possible, a breath of air. This is where we are instrumental. It is all it takes for some. This moment, your prayer, gives us this opportunity. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes.
I would just like to thank all of Positive Light. I want to express my gratitude for all the help and assistance I've been receiving. And I want to send love to Positive Light and tell you how much you're appreciated.
I second that.
We thank you. We are grateful. We are grateful for your blessings. We take them into our hearts. We open ourselves fully. And thank you now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We begin to feel you are passing through some difficulty in these times. Your housing fluctuates, your vibration tenuous in moments, instilling in ourselves a desire to assist you. We see you have some fluctuation in your field. There is caring, yes, instilling in yourself some benefit we can bring in more light should you choose it. We can bring in more energy to your being should you allow it. You are suffering, you are struggling with some tenuous fluctuation in your field. We see this now. Do you wish it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We will align ourselves with your frequency. If you do not wish it, merely speak not. If you wish it, you may give us this permission.
I give permission.
I give permission.
Permission.
Mm.
We thank you.
We thank you.
Yes.
We bring in light. Rest at ease. Your crown chakra opens. We move within gently. Light moves in. Fluctuation at hand. We perceive there is a shifting, a changing within your vibration. We wish to absolve your frequency of this energy form. We are working within your field. Allow, expand, breathe in into the heart space. Move your conscious awareness into the heart space. From this space of purity, we inform ourselves of your beginnings. We push outward from our light moves in, pushing out in all directions. Allow this infusion of gentle love, a spirit of hope. We bring this in. You are becoming more integrated, more aligned with yourself, more aligned with your own source light. You are becoming more harmonized. Your field is aligned. Breathe now. We are working. You are receiving light. It has moved down to the crown chakra, down to the root chakra. Breathe down. Move your mind, awareness into the root chakra. And lift up with your awareness into second chakra. Light moves up into third chakra, expanding from this point in all directions. Yourself, your light, exhumed and shared. You are cleared, you are whole, you are integrated. We thank you.
Thank you.
Much love and appreciation.
Much love and respect and gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
You are welcome. We thank you. we say goodbye.
Bye. Awesome. And oof,
Hey,
thank you so much.
That was amazing.
you're welcome.
Thank you for the alignment.
Yes,
Woo!
that was a good alignment.
That was powerful.
Yeah.
You're super welcome. I'm present when they are doing their thing, but I see the visuals. I don't hear everything they say. I can't, like, I'm super and I'm kind of out of it right now, sorry. But
That's-
I feel
go
you.
super into
I
my
feel
right
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go super into my right brain. I can see the stuff that they're doing, but I can't remember everything they say.
So
Yeah.
I felt a major clearing
Mm-hmm.
of energy.
Yeah.
Like I would describe it as a gentle wave,
Mhm.
a scan going
Mhm.
through
Mhm.
and then dispersing. And I feel really light right now. I felt a little lightheaded,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I am just so grateful.
They sent me images. They always do because I see things, and so the wave to me was these red heart shapes with a flame at the very top like a crown,
Ooh.
and the hearts got bigger and bigger
Mhm.
and bigger, and then they got smaller as we went down to do the alignment. When they came back up, they filled my whole chest cavity,
Mhm.
but they were different sizes and shapes, and there was one in the middle that was quite large, but each one had its own little flame.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow, I love that.
They were using that imagery of the heart on
Yeah.
fire through me, down and up and down.
Mm.
I
I
love
felt that go up and down my spine.
I feel amazing right now.
Yeah.
Amazing.
You are glowing.
Yeah.
I had a little headache before we started, and because
Teresa,
of the sinuses.
can you see the
Yes, the orange.
yeah, it
Yes.
shifted, didn't it?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
It's in your face too.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Wowza.
But
Well,
you show
that-
up differently for everybody because it's
Mhm.
there. It's a very unique experience. So I'm channeling them, but
Mhm.
as that's happening, it's more like I'm opening a portal, and then they come in and they do their. It's very specific to each person. So people get, so like for you, Teresa, they would have been speaking to you in your language, which is clairvoyance, and
Yeah.
they work with everybody very individually.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I feel
So
so
she
I'm highly
feels.
intuitive, and I feel
Yeah.
and I just get that feeling, and that's how I
Mhm.
experienced it. So that's amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Well, thanks
Yeah.
for letting them do it.
When
It's
you-
really cool.
This group that you have on Saturday, is it healing?
It's on Sunday.
Sundays.
Peace bathing is really all about helping us get into a really fabulous mindset for our ascension. And it is so normally when they do, this was a different healing that they did for you guys, where they basically brought in light. They kind of
Yes.
flushed and aligned your system is what they
Oh
did.
yes, they did.
Oh yeah.
You just like went through the Jiffy Lube of angelic healing.
I love that.
Got a
Squeaky
tune up.
clean.
Got a tune up. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
you gotta
just
tune up.
amazing.
But in what they
Yeah.
typically do is they will levitate people's energy up, which is a trippy feeling if you've never felt it, because people literally physically feel themselves. They call it levitating energies, but they will feel
Yes.
themselves moving up.
Yes.
And then they take them up into a specific frequency, which is peace, which they always describe it as it's their hangout space. This is their, where they like to be. And so they bring them up there, and in the process, it's sort of like helping us to kind of get into that higher, not only the higher frequency, but helping us to kind of really release all of the friction and the chaos that's in our field, all the stuff, the daily life stuff. But each one is different. So they do, is you guys know, like as you come and hear the messages that I'm sharing on Fridays, they always seem to be magically appropriate to what's happening right now.
Because
And
they're
it's-
so tapped in. They know where to
We have a
how to
friend.
get that to you.
We have a friend, Lucky Stone. He says, I finally feel whole again. The last 5 days have been horrible, and I feel better than ever.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Mhm.
That
And
is awesome.
Mary saw purple
Mm-hmm.
during hers, and
Super cool.
green mist all around me from Deborah Sloan. Mary Wynn's feeling so good. So folks
Good.
really got a clinic. Yeah, that was wonderful.
I'm
is
happy
Yeah.
that others felt that as well.
Now, on your website and what Karen put on Crystal Network are action buttons directly from our page to yours to sign up for or get more information on these different programs. And that Sunday class sounds really good.
Yeah, it is.
Uh-huh.
It happens, like I said, it's once a month. And if you, it's normally, the intention is to do it regularly with the idea that you're going to have, the more that you can hold that frequency, the better off you are. But if you want to come just once and that's all you can do, it's totally whatever works for you. If you want to come try it out, that's great too. There's also the Angelic Frequency Series. So if people want to explore that, that's on my website. And that is, if you look at the 9 different frequencies, what was amazing to me, after I channeled the 9 frequencies, and this was an endeavor. I did one a month for 9 months, and each one was 90 minutes long of holding this. It's literally like a fire hose coming out of my chest.
Wow.
I mean, it is intense. And you can hear it actually in the frequencies. If you listen to the recording, you can hear my voice.
It's like a sonar.
I've heard that. I did, my voice is shaking. Like you can tell it was hard for me to hold the frequency. By the last one, I'm like, it's like no problem. But it took me a while to grow into it. But the thing that was amazing to me, so after I channeled all those, then I was channeling with them and they told me they wanted me to transcribe them. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea, until I started doing it. And it was like 87.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my word. But what was cool about that was that I saw the logic, I saw the divine intelligence behind it, which I was totally unaware of, because I was just talking, I'm just channeling. This stuff is coming through and I don't even really know what they're saying all the time. And, but when I went and transcribed it, I could see their methodology, and every session, I could see the theme of every session, and it was amazing. Like, for example, any session they did where they were connecting people. So they had one where they're grounding people, another one where they're connecting people to their higher self. Anytime they were connecting people, they would use a similar method, which was they would first come in and they would free up energy. And they would free up the energy, and then they would go into the connection. And just to see that unfolding over 9 months, to see that divine intelligence of how all these sessions went one into the next, and to see how their way of working was so methodical and so thought out. It was amazing to perceive it. So you can see that all of the different ones are described with what happens on the site, and it's worth checking out just to see how it happened. But it was super, super cool.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
And then you have a Facebook group where you give your messages on Fridays. I missed it live today because I was having new internet put in. My internet router got fried in a storm.
Oh,
knocked it out.
Now it's super snappy.
That is a good thing. That's a very good thing.
No, things happen for a reason. The guy comes out and he goes, "Oh, you have a degradation in performance, a signal strength coming into your house." I'm like, "You're here to fix a router." He goes, "Yeah, but you've got a problem with I'm like, "Is that why I freeze up on these shows and YouTube?" Probably. So he goes downstairs, pinpoints it in 5 minutes, takes out this extra piece I didn't need. And all of a sudden I've got this signal boost strength, all because the router got knocked out.
It sounds a lot like your angelic healing.
Yeah, exactly.
Bingo.
You're healed.
The podcast version of angelic healing.
I didn't mean to cut you off. You were talking about your Facebook page.
I was saying, if people want to be part of the messages, I have my YouTube channel is just my name, Ann Tucker. So you can come and I put all the messages there. Or if you want to join me live for them, the Facebook group is called Spirit Means Business.
Spirit Means Business, and there's chat in there, and that's how I got to know you a little bit, because I was like, you're really great about interacting with people who are in the chat on that, and even after the fact. And I went back to Lori and I said, that chick you turned me on to for the channeling? She goes, yeah. And I'm like, wow. I said, and I'm communicating with her, and I want to ask her on, but I wasn't thinking about it that day. It just was like, you just hit like 3 synchronicities in a row, and I'm like, oh, Ann, we got to have you on. And you're like, okay, let's chat.
That's when I went to my guides and I said, Eric, go fetch.
you.
In a cute, kind way, but he knew what I meant.
Well, you guys have such a great vibe, all of you together. You can tell that you guys have such great chemistry together. It's really fun to be part of it. So I really appreciate it.
Wonderful. Well, we
all
really,
have
really
fun,
appreciate you.
And it's a
And I
couple that
really
couldn't make
enjoy
it.
the difference in your perspectives too, and the fact that you're all coming from different places. So it really adds a lot of richness to the show.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does.
Our whole community is like that. We're all we're together.
We're quite the bunch.
We're like-minded,
Kind of the funky
we
bunch.
have our own twist on our path. Yeah, the funky bunch.
We're the funky bunch.
Motley Crue.
Yeah, that's it.
But if there's anything we can do for you or help drive folks your way, we've already put you and featured you on our Queen of Quartz network, which is worldwide.
Thank you so much.
And that's getting in the middle of getting another round of upgrades, right, Karen? So she did a major upgrade before she went away a few months ago. Now we're getting ready to do another upgrade, and we'll share that out. But you yourself have, oh my God, I can't believe how many followers you have that are really understanding this.
It is a wonderful thing. And I got to tell you, it's not that didn't happen overnight. It took me a while. I got to tell you, when I first started, I felt very much on my own, and I felt like I was, and I think everybody goes through that when they start their path, is they feel like, oh my gosh, I am not friends with my old friends anymore. Like I cannot connect with them anymore. And where are my people, And so I started a meetup. I literally put my flag in the ground. I rented a space, and I was like, I had no idea if anybody was going to show up. And guess what? Like 25 people showed up. I was like, wow, I was so excited, And then
amazing.
From there,
what's that high pitch?
More people come, and I put on a monthly meetup, and then I did these big annual events, and it was so much fun. And I featured all different people and different healers and all this kind of stuff. And so now I have this lovely community of people who are really, like I said, like-minded people who are really on the path and living the path or learning the path. Some people who are just finding their way, and they come in and like, oh, here's a community of people who, supportive and open, and it makes you feel normal.
Wow.
There's other people that are going through the same stuff. It makes you feel like there's momentum to this. It makes you feel like, you're not alone. It's really nice.
So tell her, Lori. Tell her.
Yeah, so we're getting this really bizarre interference. It's
pitch.
a high frequency pitch. It's almost making me dizzy. That's how high this frequency
Yeah, it's
pitch is.
nauseating, actually.
Yeah.
It's a very loud, trying to drown out, and it lowered your voice too. It lowered your volume.
Right as you were speaking. It's still happening right now. It's starting to dissipate.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Well,
I love it.
Thank you, Anne, for coming on and willing to be with us tonight and help us out like this. And I wanted to introduce you to everybody because I think you've got a lot to offer various members of the community who might vibe with what you're talking about. And I went ahead and posted the link on your Facebook page, so that we could get out to as many viewers as we could to let them know what was going on. So
thanks so much for doing that. Thank you for having me. It was great to meet you guys. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend.
And thank you too.
Oh, and good luck with your move.
Thank you. Oh my
yes.
gosh. I've been packing like mad all day, and then the power went out for a little while. But I'm finally recovering from my horrible essential oil mishap.
Yes. Yeah. You still must smell lovely. She had a vial of essential oils that just busted all over, and it was given quite pungent odor there for a while.
Yeah.
For the last 24 hours.
It was.
Smelling good over at the Tucker house.
I said, she's either going to have some really happy people come pounding on the door for some love and hugs, or she's going to get people that are like,
I know. It's just I just become that woman, that spiritual woman whose house is like wafting with essential oils.
I love that. All right.
Thank you so much, and we'll be in touch with you, and we'll see you in the chat rooms too.
Sounds great. Bye-bye, guys.
All right. Goodbye. Peace out, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Oh, folks, we have a little video we're going to play on our way out. It's a closeout video for Cajun Queen's Kitchen Pantry Appeal. Okay. It's
All right.
updated
And
from
on the
last
Crystal
year.
Net, yeah, and Teresa, on the Crystal Network homepage, right down, it's still right there with the donate button and her video. It's right on the
Beautiful.
Crystal
Yeah,
Network, right on the front
this is
page
a
there, too.
revised video, so stay tuned, Karen. It's only going to be
Yeah,
about
I
a
will.
minute and a half, but it's revised video.
Right.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Thank you.
Thank
and have
you.
a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Anne. Much love.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Ann.
guys.
Bye.
Mhm.